Hello everyone. Today we are going to discuss about voice chains. What are you going to discuss? Voice chains. So let's start. At first, we need to know what is voice. Without understanding the definition of voice, our knowledge regarding voice will not be completed. So let's start. Now, what is voice? Voice shows if the subject does the work or any other else does. So this is the definition of voice. So here we find the subject does the work, subject works directly or indirectly. Now, now see some examples. The first example is that he killed a tiger. Here we find the subject he, and he works here directly, so it is active. Now move on to the next example. A tiger was killed by him. A tiger was killed by him. Here a tiger, a subject, does not work itself. Here we find the work actually is done by him. Actually the work is done by him, so it is passive. So we can see the subject works directly or indirectly. This is called voice. Now we will discuss about types of voice. There are three types of voice. Number one is active voice. Number two, passive voice. Number three, quasi-passive voice. So active voice, passive voice and quasi-passive voice. These are the three types of voice. Here we should remember that basically voice is divided into two types, active voice and passive voice. Mainly we need to understand or focus on the two types of voice, active voice and passive voice. Now what is active voice? When the subject itself does the work, the verb is in the active voice. So I repeat again, when the subject itself does the work, the verb is in the active voice. This is the definition of active voice. Now see some example of active voice. First example is that she helps him. Here the subject she directly works, that is why it is active voice. Now the next example is that Rohim stole her purse. Here also we find the subject Rohim works directly. So this is active voice. So active voice, here we find the subject directly works. So this is the definitions of the active voice. Now what is passive voice? When the subject does not do the work, the verb is in the passive voice. I repeat again, when the subject does not do the work, the verb is in the passive voice. So this is the definition of passive voice. Now see some examples. The first example is that he is helped by her. Look at the subject he. Look at the subject he. Here it doesn't work. The work actually helped work is actually done by her. Now, the second example, her parts was stolen by Rohim. Here you also find that her parts, the subject does not work directly. So, this stolen work is done by Rohim. So, passive voice clearly indicates that the subject does the work indirectly, not directly. So, this is the concept about passive voice. So now, what is quasi-passive voice? Quasi-passive verbs are active in form but passive in sense. So here we find the verbs are in active in form. I mean like active voice, but actually it is in sense it is in passive. See some examples. The first example is that this book reads funny. Now, the book reads funny. This book reads funny when it is read by any person. So that's why, and so the verb reads. It seems to be in active in form, but actually it is passive in sense. Now, for the next example, honey tastes sweets. Here also, honey tastes sweet when it is tasted by any person. So that's why the verb tasted, it seems to be an active, but actually it is passive in sense. So this is called quasi-passive voice. But we should remember here that we need to understand basically two types of voice: active voice and passive voice. For this concept, I need to take help from Highlights of English by P.K. Mukherjee. Hopefully all of you understands the basic concept of voice. Thank you so much.